Hey guys, what's up? This is Mel, and today is July 19th, 2016, so sorry for the delay, but I am here to talk about the top 5 favorite moments for me for Season 11 of Supernatural. Now guys, a very quick warning, there will be spoilers. So if you haven't watched any of Season 11, or if you haven't finished watching it, I definitely suggest you go do that first, and then come back to see what I thought were my favorite moments of the season. So, with that said, I am going to do a 15-minute clock this time, so let's begin. So, well, let's count down. So, my 5th favorite moment of this season has to be episode 4, that is titled Baby, and it is best known as the Impala episode, as the whole episode was basically in the point of view of the beloved Chevy Impala, which was... The reason why it was one of my favorite moments is because the Impala is such a crucial character in the show, despite the fact that it is only a car. It's not a living, breathing thing. But it was great to see just how a hunt, or how the lives of the Winchester were in the perspective of this vehicle. So it was interesting to see just what happens to the car, even when the brothers are off doing... stuff elsewhere, what happens in the car. It is even great. One thing I really liked as well was that we got to see Sam and Dean actually sleeping in the car during a long trip to and from a city, and then having them just wake up in the middle of the night and actually having a deep conversation about what was going on in their lives and what they really needed to focus on, or deal with any issues that they had between them. And I really like that. Just this episode alone truly shows you more of an inside look of what it means to be a nomadic hunter, like the Winchesters have always been. We've always seen them always parking the Impala and then go renting in a hotel and holding up there for a case, but that's not always the case for them. Sometimes they do have to park on the side of the road and take a nap in the Impala, and we got to see that in this episode. It's really great that we got a more of an understanding because of this, and I really like that. Also, what I really liked was that we got to see Sam getting these dreams that he believes are messages from God, and in those dreams he got them in the form of his father, John Winchester, who was this time played by Matt Cohen, who portrays the younger version of John. So it was just great to see his return in that moment, just to get an interesting insight on what this dream was meant to tell Sam. So that was another point that I really liked about the episode. So moving on to the 4th favorite moment I had for this season. And it's not really an episode, it's more of a series of episodes, and that is from it's pretty much the last 4 episodes of the season. So that is episode 20 to episode 23. And basically I'm calling it Chuck's return as God. So, and reason why 11:20, titled Don't Call Me Shirley, was a favorite of mine was because of all the interactions between Chuck and Metatron. It was their moments in the episode that I really liked, because not only did we get to see more of an insight into Chuck as God and what he thought about the whole universe, about creation of it all, and then of Amara trying to destroy it. We got to see him and Metatron talk about Supernatural as if they were not in the show itself, kind of where you get all your meta references and stuff like that. We also got a lot of pulls from previous episodes, them making references to past incidences and stuff like that, like with Metatron burning the Tall Tales book back in season 9. So it was really great to just get that kind of insight. We also got Chuck singing a song, thanks to Rob Benedict's own talent. So we got a bit of that too. So that's the reason why I liked 11:20. Now 11:21, titled All in the Family. The reason I liked it is because we got to see Kevin very briefly in the beginning, basically verifying that Chuck is God and he's on their side, and then him being sent to heaven after being in limbo for so long. So it was great to see Kevin again. What also I liked about this episode was the sit down between Chuck and the Winchesters as they talk about Chuck's absence as God. And it not only do we get Sam basically fanboying over the fact that he's in God's presence, being a huge believer in that. But then we also see Dean break down in his own way as he pretty much shows his disappointment in God and how he left them all to fend for themselves. So it's really great to see that type of conversation going on. So I really like that. Now, 1122, titled We Happy Few, which is basically we see the reunion between Chuck and Lucifer, who is possessing Castiel at the moment. So it's great to see they have their own little therapy session. And we really get to learn about where the where the tension between the two of them grew. We found out that Lucifer was actually Chuck's favorite, and because of that, he gave Lucifer the mark of Cain after locking Amara away, and in his own belief that he believed that Lucifer was able to handle the mark of Cain, but when he didn't and he succumbed to that darkness, Chuck was really furious with himself for the fact that Lucifer couldn't control it, so that's why he had locked him away, because the mark was twisting him in a way that was too dangerous. So there's that. I also liked in that episode that we got to see the 3 different factions teaming up together to fight against Amara. We got Heaven, Hell, and then we got the witches who were teaming up to side with the Winchesters and with Chuck to weaken Amara enough that they could lock her away again, this time with Sam becoming the bearer of the mark of Cain. Don't know why it's originally called the Mark of Cain, but we'll get away from that later. But of course, that doesn't work out, but it's great to see that effort tried. And then lastly, the finale. Why was the finale my favorite? Titled Alpha and Omega, number 23. And that is, favorite for me has to be the fact that all the different ways that Dean said goodbye to Sam and to Cass before he initially goes in to be the bomb that's meant to destroy Amara. So it was just great to see that sentimentality, even have Dean admit to Sam that yes, he does like chick flick moments, and he goes in for the hug. So that was really great. Also, it was great to see that Chuck and Amara finally making amends and finally getting through to each other, because it looked like Amara finally understood why Chuck wanted to create things, why he wanted to bring all this life together when she just wanted it to be the two of them. So it was great to see them make amends. I truly believe that there was no way that they could have destroyed Amara in one season, since she is essentially God's counterpart. So it's great to see that they were able to come to this civil conclusion. As well with that, though, we also got a surprise visit from Mary Winchester on the side of the road found by Dean. So that left a huge cliffhanger in the finale over the fact on whether Mary is truly back, if she's just hallucination, if she's just a temporary return, or if she's actually back and that is Amara's gift to Dean. So that's something we have to look forward to next season. Also, Sam got shot, but that's not a favorite moment of mine for the episode, so I'll just put it like that. But moving on. Favorite moment number 3 has to be episode 1116, titled Safe House, and that is because of the return of Bobby Singer and Rufus Turner, which is done through flashbacks. Pretty much half of this episode was done in flashbacks, which is truly fantastic. I loved it because it's essentially being the same case, just dealt by 2 different teams at 2 separate moments in time. So we got Sam and Dean dealing with this one case in the future, and it was an old case that Bobby and Rufus had done together in the past, set in the time of the apocalypse happening. So it was great to see all the cross-cuttings between the two as they each find their own solutions, their own answers, but it was enough cross-cutting that we weren't lost in what the hunt was truly about. We still got the same amount of information, whether it was from Sam and Dean or whether it was from Bobby and Rufus. So it was always like that. And it was also funny, too, how I remember specifically, it was when Sam and Dean were in the graveyard and they were digging, there was 2 graves, they were digging by hand, and at one point Dean complained that there's got to be a simpler way to do this, and because they were so tired. And then it switches to a flashback scene, and you see Bobby, I think it's a bulldozer or something, he's working a little crane bulldozer as he's digging up the grave himself with a machine. So it's like, there is a simpler way, and Bobby just used it years before he even thought about it. So that was just truly hilarious and fantastic. It just truly showed how badass Bobby and Rufus were, and it makes it even more sad to know that they're not alive in the present day. But it was great to see that we truly got half the episode with them. And then also at the very end, it truly really warmed my heart was that when at the very end of the episode, just when the creature's nest, which was found outside of time, was dissolving and emptying out, you see before it does that Dean and Bobby actually see each other face to face before they see each other fade out into their own time periods, and which is pretty crazy as to how that could possibly happen, since Bobby's is happening in 2010, roughly 6 years before Dean, and yet they're able to see each other. So it was a little confusing by that, though, but the fact that they were able to see each other and still remember when they were back in their original bodies was amazing. I'm so glad they got that little bit of moment, especially for Dean, since for him, Bobby's been gone for a good 5 years at least. Wow, has it really been that long? Wow. But for Dean, or for Bobby, he still has to go. He still gets a call from Dean later on in his time period. So there's that. Moving on, though. Moment number 2 for me, that's my favorite, has to be episode 12. And that is Don't You Forget About Me. And this one marks the return of Sheriff Jody Mills, Claire Novak, and Alex Jones. Now, Alex is the vampire lure that Jody had taken in season 9. Which we haven't seen her since season 9. And then Claire, after finding her mom and losing her mom, she was sent to go stay with Jody. So this episode truly shows the 3 women together and living together and seeing the true dynamic as the Sam and Dean get called in by Claire as she thinks that there's a case in town. Well, Alex doesn't believe so. She's the one that's trying to be normal and have a normal life, while Claire is trying to be a hunter while still staying in town, kind of like with, I guess you can kind of say she's trying to kind of do it like Bobby, where he was mostly stayed within his area when he hunted. So there's that. But Claire is definitely older than Alex, since Alex is still in high school and Claire is meant to be in college or something like that. But the one moment that really made this my favorite episode, not only for their returns, was because of that awkward family dinner moment. It was absolutely hilarious just to see Sam and Dean in that situation, just to see them being part of certain talks within that dinner. It was just super hilarious. I could watch that scene over and over again and still crack up every time. So that was definitely a favorite for me, though. So before I tell you guys about my top favorite moment of the season, an honorable mention, that I have to say, is episode 8, which is Just My Imagination, which was pretty much about imaginary friends, and it was also hilarious with that whole Sully, which was Sam's old imaginary friend, really freaking out over the fact that Sparkle was on the lady's face. Imaginary friends are invisible to people who don't believe, so it was pretty interesting to have the whole freak out session, to see Dean kind of like with him on that. Also, it was great to see in this episode, we got flashbacks as well of little Sam having Sully as his imaginary friend, and we got to see Dylan Everett playing a teenage Dean again. Only briefly, though, when he was on the phone with Sam telling him it would be a few more days until they returned home. So it was great to have that. It was also directed by Richard Spade Jr., who plays Gabriel, aka the Trickster. So it was great to see that fun episode happening. It was pretty funny, too. Now, top favorite moment of season 11. It's 2 episodes, so it's pretty much the same story arc, but that is episode 9 and episode 10. Episode 9 being Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? And number 10 being The Devil in the Details. And pretty much it's the 2 episodes that feature Lucifer's cage. Now, the reason why this is my absolute favorite episodes is because of the reaction it got from me. With not only did we get to see the return of Lucifer, which was played by Mark Pellegrino, but we also find out that Lucifer was responsible for all of Sam's dreams, who he had thought he was getting from God. So there's that. We also see Lucifer and Sam back together, and how that whole tense dynamic. The last time we saw that together was back in season 7, when Sam was struggling with the hallucinations he was getting from Lucifer. So there's that. Also, with their interaction with Lucifer trying to convince Sam that he needs to be let free to help with Amara, we see flashbacks of different moments in Sam's life. We got to see archived footage of a few episodes before. For example, the fight in Swan Song in the Skull Cemetery with when Lucifer possessed Sam and Michael possessed Adam, and Dean were all in that cemetery before they all fell in the pit. We also got to see Colin Ford return as a teenage Sam in one memory as well. So that was fantastic to see. I always liked it when Colin Colin Ford played Flashback Sam, so it was pretty great. Also, with the cage, though, we got a great fight scene between Lucifer, Sam, Dean, and Castiel as they try to get Sam out of the cage without letting Lucifer out. And what really shocked me for this whole story arc was the fact that it was revealed that Castiel had secretly said yes to Lucifer possessing him. When that happened, and it was revealed, and by doing that, Lucifer had also killed Marina. When that happened, I was completely shocked. I was blown away. I was like, what the hell? No way. I was like cursing like crazy in my room. So it really left a shocking impression for me. Plus, a funny moment with that whole scene, we did, and there's the timer if you can't hear, but we did get to see a bit of Rowena's Christmas Nightmare, where we got Lucifer playing Santa, her in an unwanted reindeer outfit, and Crowley in footy pajamas. And what was really funny about this little nightmare was the fact that it was Crowley in footy pajamas getting excited over the fact that he got a little Sam Funko Pop doll for Christmas. That was just truly hilarious, and I really liked it. And since the timer went off, and that's all I have to say for my top favorite moment of the season. So, what do you guys think of that? What are your own top favorite moments of season 11? Let me know in the comments below. I love to hear about it. Before we go, though, I want to talk about some season 12 casting news that I managed to find. As we know, premiere date is Thursday, October 13th, 2016 at 9 p.m. on the CW. I wasn't able to find much in casting, though, but apparently Elizabeth Blackmore, who played Lady Tony Bevel in the finale, will be returning in a recurring role. If you're not familiar, I remember her as Valerie from the Vampire Diaries, so there's that. Also, San Diego Comic-Con is coming this week, so the panel for Supernatural is Sunday, July 24th, 2016 at 11:15 to 12:15 Pacific Standard Time in Hall H. So we'll get more news about season 12 through that, whether or not Mary Winchester is a recurring feature in the season or not. If we're going to see Chuck and Amara again, who knows? We'll find out all of that at the panel. Hopefully, maybe we'll get a little bit of a sneak peek teaser as well, since I believe they started filming this month. So there's that. But with season 12, what do I hope to see? I actually really hope to see Winchester Birthday being celebrated or mentioned at some point, because for me personally, I'm really curious as to how Sam and Dean celebrated birthdays in the past and how they would celebrate them now, especially when everyone in the fandom knows that Dean's birthday is January 24th and Sam's birthday is May 2nd. I mean, when are we actually going to see how these two celebrate their birthdays? Because we know how they celebrate Christmas, we know how they celebrate Thanksgiving, Halloween, all of that. So I'm just really curious. So that's about it. I am going to make a Comic-Con video detailing any of season 12 spoilers that they reveal at the panel, so stay tuned for that. But that's it, guys. So don't forget to like this video, comment again below about what you thought were your favorite moments. As I said, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and to check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. Also, if you want, check out my Tumblr page. Link for that is down below. I have been working on relinking all my Supernatural tags, so currently they're pretty good, so I'll relink that back to my Tumblr, but check out the link below, and then I'll update later on for that as well. I'm up to date when it comes to promos, synopses, and web clips for Supernatural, so it all should be there, and quotes, just everything else. I'm slowly getting to that. Also, if you want a worded, detailed version of this video in regards to why my 5 moments were my favorite, check out my WordPress link. The link for that will be down below. Once it gets written, it'll be posted and it'll be ready for you guys to see. So until next time for my Comic-Con video, this is Mel wishing you a great day, great week wherever you are. Have a great summer, guys. Bye.